The master has failed many more times than the beginner has even tried. Stephen McCranie. And Mr. McCranie is right. The master has tried again and again and again. And so many times when you're learning from a master, you need to really pay particular attention because they're telling you not to do the stupid things they did and how to avoid it. That's what's so wonderful about having a mentor. That's what's so wonderful about studying with people who know what's going on and who've done what you want to learn to do for many, many years. And again, I find myself all the time searching out people, looking at books, reading them, articles, calling people on the phone, doing any and everything I can to amass the knowledge that I need for the task at hand. And the task at hand here is, of course, learning to chart stocks. It's just that simple. We follow trends. We set up simple charts with particularly the price percent oscillator and all of the other supporting indicators to help us find a trend and follow that trend. When we look at the chart that is before everyone who is watching the video right now, if you're listening on the podcast, I'll tell you what we see. We see the weekly vertical crossover going up on the week ending Friday, the 1st of November, and we have pretty much seen up movement since that time period. Now, we didn't capture the initial movement. You could say we missed about 2 weeks of that movement. Why? Because we didn't have an established trend with a weekly vertical crossover. Once that occurred and the bells and sirens went off, that was the time that we jumped into our successful practice trades going up, and they have been very successful. We had a recross on the 2-day chart ending Friday the 13th of December. And of course, we have seen up movement since then. For the day on Christmas Eve, markets closed at 1 p.m. The S&P 500 was flat. What do we see now? Remember, markets are going to be closed for Christmas in the States. They'll be opened on Thursday, the 26th of December. And we see so far this week the high 321.65, the high last week 321.97. So we've not hit that high yet, not surpassed it, but we do see the price percent oscillator going up. Derivative oscillator's been losing momentum since it looks like it peaked back on the 6th of December, the week ending then. So we'll continue to watch. Don't expect a lot to go on a Christmas week. A lot of the volume's out of the market. The big guys are on vacation, but we'll continue to watch, see what there is to see. We see that the prior candle drew on Monday. That represented Friday and Monday the 23rd. We see that the candle on Tuesday for the half day is just the first day of the latest candle. So again, we'll continue to watch and see what there is to see. Price percent oscillator is about flat. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. And we go to the 4-hour chart. It crossed over going down. Looks like it peaked back on Monday morning, the 23rd, and really just slipping sideways. So we'll just continue to watch, see what there is to see. Price movement still well above the 2-day and the weekly. And again, the 4-hour we use primarily for jumping in points. We do watch it. We use it as a trigger many times, and it does matter to us. But again, it's those bigger charts. The bigger the chart, the bigger the money in your practice trade. That's why we focus so hard on that weekly chart. We're not looking at being the little short-term traders that day traders are trying to catch market inefficiencies that are being weeded out more and more with quants, dark pools, computer trading, all those kinds of things. What we're trying to do is find established trends and practice trade those. So we go from the S&P 500 to the Nasdaq 100. What do we see there? Well, the prior week, 212.52. So far this week, 212.15. So again, we've not reached a higher high yet, but we did have a recross. I'll talk about that here in just a minute. Price percent oscillator heading up. Derivative oscillator gaining just a little bit of momentum going up. Go to that 2-day chart. Price percent oscillator still heading up. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. We see a red open box candle And of course, what that means is a slowdown in the increase. Now remember, we had that weekly vertical crossover on Friday. We had the Friday effect, the weekend effect. Put out a great training on that. Of course, that worked like a charm. It was a recross of the 2-day crossing back over, going up. And we'll go ahead and make sure that we redraw our, there we go, that we redraw our trend line. Price is still above the 2-day trend line, but that recross gave us another opportunity to jump into up movement on the weekly chart. That is, the 2-day chart had been heading down. It had crossed over going down back on the 5th, which took us out of a trade potentially, although it really ran right along that weekly trend line. And then when it recrossed with the weekend effect, I'll put that training out again here soon. If you're not getting our trainings every day, all the special trainings that we do, they're available if you subscribe at chartingwealth.com for free. You'll put in your name, email, address. You'll get our weekly comprehensive review and forecast that comes out on Fridays at the close of the market. You'll get our daily reviews every day of the week. Plus, we have a special training put out every day. The one today is don't allow the complexity of charting to scare you away. And it's a great training about how we keep things simple so that they make sense. As Einstein said, keep things as simple as possible, not simpler. So we see that 2-day crossover, excuse me, gave us a good jumping in point somewhere around the last number, around 209.03, up to a high of 212.52. So again, about, what is that, 209, so I mean, we're looking at $3. Not bad, my friends. In the course of that was in the course of 4 days. So again, not bad at all. And what are we looking for? We're looking to capture up movement, follow trends, practice trade that, and understand how to read charts. So that's where we are on the 2-day. Was up just a wee bit on Christmas Eve, 0.05%. Go to the 4-hour chart, and again, we see, like the S&P, just sort of topping and sliding sideways. So that's where we are on the Qs. Now we go from stocks to bonds. Bonds up for the day, 0.29%. We have a strange candle for the week, waiting to see how that gets adjusted out. But we see that the price percent oscillator is heading down, derivative oscillator losing some downward momentum. Again, bonds were up for the day. Bond market closed at 2 today versus the stock market at 1. And again, price is right there at the weekly trend line, still heading down. We go from the weekly to the 2-day, and again we see that weird anomaly. What we see is a green open box candle representing the first day of the latest 2-day candle, up 0.29%. Price is still below the 2-day trend line. Of course, we had a 2-day crossover going down, and that occurred on the 17th. For those of you who are new to what we do, we always encourage you to put in a good till canceled sell order the minute that you purchase your practice trade, so that you can get yourself closed out when you have the kind of price movement that you are hoping for and take your profit, whether you sell out half the position at 1%, 2%, 3%. Those percentages are based on any number of things. This is again why we practice every single day, and you learn what these things are about and why you do them and how you do them. Very important that you take the trainings that we have. We just re-put out our 3-part series on options trading. I want you to practice trade options. And when we talk about practice trading, there's a number of online platforms where you can literally purchase virtually, whether it's stock, whether it's options, those types of things, or you can paper trade in that you record the price and then you follow the price movement and you record. And in fact, one of the best ways to practice that is to use our trade worksheet. We actually have a trade worksheet, daily market worksheet, and weekly market worksheets with trainings on how to use them. You'll see a link in the show notes if you are a subscriber. If not, become one. You'll get a link to those PDFs. You can print those out and use them on your own. So the 2-day chart is pulling back up a little bit. However, price percent oscillator still going down, derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum on bonds. We go to the 4-hour chart, And that's where we see things where they actually bottomed out all the way back on the 19th. 4-hour chart rotated over going up at the end of the day, but again, not a great deal of up movement. Hasn't even hit the high it hit back on the 23rd in the afternoon. Oh wait, that was in the morning. So we'll watch, see what bonds are up to and how they settled out. If you were in that practice trade, again, pay close attention to that weekly and to that 2-day chart. Your loss catch basins are in effect. We're talking about what you set in for your loss limits. Same with your profit limits. And we have a great training on the profit and loss bands. I'll be putting that out again soon. Also, how you use those and set those on your charts so you can see if price is really moving toward the losses and or the profits. The profits you were hoping for, the losses you were fearing. It's losses that kill you in this game. Profits are always wonderful, but if you limit those losses and again maximize those profits, you're going to do well in your practice trading. That is where we are on bonds. Lastly, we go to gold. Gold up for the day 0.94%. Look how big that up candle is on the 2-day chart for just the first day, but let's focus first on the weekly. Again, another big up candle, 3rd candle in a row. Hasn't crossed over going up yet on gold, but my friends, that may be happening in the near future. It may be. Hasn't happened yet. Derivative oscillator losing momentum. Price percent oscillator is heading up toward the red signal line. Don't know that we'll have a crossover this week. We just have Thursday and Friday. It could happen, so pay attention. If you like gold like I do and want to learn how to practice trade it, first day of this latest 2-day candle is it's the biggest up candle we've seen going back weeks. And we see the price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. That's just the first day of the latest one. 4-hour chart, check it out. 4-hour chart rotated over going up all the way back on the afternoon of Wednesday, the 11th of December, and really sort of peaked in the morning on Thursday, the 12th, and then sort of ran sideways. And only in the last 2 days has it peaked above that, in this last day in particular. So we'll wait and see how gold is going to shake out for us. I can't wait for gold to cross back over going up. Look at how well it did for us when it crossed over going back up back in early June. That is the first full week in June, Friday, June the 7th. We had a jumping in point somewhere around, and the reason I say somewhere is because we're using Heikin-Ashi candlesticks, but the last, and again, we look on those weekly vertical crossovers to jump in before the market closes on Friday, get the use of the weekend effect. So it was around 125.46 up to a high of 145.68. Actually went even higher than that, 146.82. Again, over a 2-month period. Not bad, my friends, not bad at all. So we'll wait and see how gold is going to shake out. We don't jump in until we have confirmation of that weekly vertical crossover. Learn more about what we do at chartingwealth.com. We love to hear from you. Write us cw@chartingwealth.com. Give yourself our book to start your new year, Charting Your Way to Wealth. If you don't have one, 13th printing is available. I'll send you an autographed copy. Follow the link in the show notes. If you live overseas, just email me, cw@chartingwealth.com. I'll send you a PayPal invoice. That is for our overseas friends. For some reason, Square won't clear your foreign credit card, but PayPal will. So email us and we'll get a book out to you wherever you are in the world. God bless, my friends. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Blessings on you and your family and your training.